Hi everyone, in this quick tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create a stylish contact form using Next.js and Tailwind, and then we'll send the form data to an email address of our choice using the Node Mailer plugin. As you can see, this is the form that we're going to be making. And once you do complete the data here and hit the get in touch button, it just gets sent directly to an email address of your choice. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so to begin with, I've created my Next.js project, which you can run by going into the command line and just type in npx create next app and then just call it whatever you want. I've just called it contact form. To start off with, we're just going to create the outer display. So to do that, I'm just going to use Tailwind to create some classes, some conditional classes. So we're just going to include the enter font. So I'll just give the font enter. See if the font's changed. Let's choose screen. I'll add the flex property. I'll just center everything. I'll give it some padding as well. Cool. See, text there. And now we'll create the container for our contact form. So create another div here. Class name of flex. Background of zinc. Order. Gray. 100. Rounded. Flex. Flex row, because we want the two sides of the column sitting side by side. For now, we'll just give this a height of 40 rem, just so we can see. I'll change that to make it water. Give it a width of 4 as well. We can split this div into two. The left hand div and the right hand div. So we'll do that by giving it a class of width half. Padding flex and flex column, because we want everything to be sitting on top of each other. Justify that in the center. Padding on the x-axis of 20. And now we'll add the image side. Property of relative. Give it a width of half also. Also flex column also, because we want it to be down. Justify between. You'll see why we're doing this in a minute. We'll give it a background. I'm going to give it a background URL. To do that, we just need to just type in URL. So this is just going to basically take the background from here, from our public folder, to background URL. We can just give it open the quotations and just do /bg main.jpg. As you can see, so that's our background. Obviously we want it to be displayed a bit better than that, because obviously it's extra zoomed in, but we can do that by adding some more properties. What we'll do is also make this rounded. Of 1, as you can see, it's got a bit of space. And then to center the image, we'll just do bg cover, and then we'll do bg center. So cover, we'll just resize the image to make it fit inside the. We'll just resize the image to make it fit nicely inside the div, and then center, we'll just center the image. Cool. Now I want to give this a bit of an overlay, because we want to have white text on there, and because the image is quite light, it won't actually be visible. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an overlay. I just type in another class, and giving this the class of absolute, and then we'll give it an inset 0, background of black. You can give this background grey of 100, and then just give it an opacity. You can see it's given it a nice grey overlay. I think maybe a little bit darker. And now, when we come and start creating our text, you actually see the text will be a lot more visible over this overlay. So that's good. Okay, so let's work on the left-hand side of the form now. What we're going to do first, we're going to create the title. So another div. We'll get a title container. Create h1, and a p tag inside that. That'll be a title, and that'll be like a little description. Give this a class name of flex column, because we want them both to be one on top of the other. We'll just give it a gap of 1, so add a little gap between the title, and then this we're just going to write chat to our team. As you can see there. Cool, so now we'll just give it some classes. Give it text of white. Size of 2XL. Give it a font of semi-bold. We'll give it tracking of type. So what tracking type does is just, it's writing a bit, just reduces the gap in between each letter. For the p tag, text small. Give it grey. Title done. Now we can go on to our form. What we're going to do first is just give our form some styling. So we're going to give it padding of 6, flex, and flex row, columns. We still do want it to be on top of each other. Give it a gap. So first, we need to create a div here because we want our first and last name to go side by side. So we'll just create 2 inputs as well. We'll flex row 6. We'll center the items. You can see that's going to be our first name and our second name. Now we can give this placeholder text. Let's write first name. Second name. Now we're going to give our input some classes. So we want this to be width of half, which already is. The background of transparent. The border bottom. The border grey 500. Font a bit lighter, so do font light. Text. Padding y of 2, padding x of 1, I'm not sure if you need a padding actually to be honest. I'll give that outline none, so this means when it's clicked on, you don't want any outline. focus. This is when it's clicked also. We want the border to be border bottom. And we want the focus, we want the color to change when it's clicked on, so do border gray 200. You see now when it's clicked, the border changes color to a lighter color. Perfect. Just copy that. Space it. It's good. And now outside of this div, we can just create our other inputs. We're going to create a new div, 2 divs within inside it, one for each option. So one for each option. So we're going to get a class name of flex column. Give it a padding on the y-axis of 4. Add a title in it actually. Number of employees. A font of medium. Good. Now we can work on other divs. So here we want to create another condition. We're going to add some conditional rendering in here, some conditional styling. So we're going to add this now. So we'll just do flex row. We want items to be centered. Add some padding on the y-axis of 3. And it to be width of full. Padding on the x-axis of 3 as well. Some margin. Rounded. One. Here we're going to have solo and group. So what we want is to create some state. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some conditional rendering, some conditional styling. We can simply say creator status is equal to solo make the border gray. We'll make the border white actually here. Otherwise, make the border gray 500. Yep. This class name. This will be team. I want to create some on-clicks here as well. So we'll just say when this is clicked, we'll set the create status to team. So solo. It's team. So add some hovering. asset pointer as well. So now let's actually create what goes within it. Create another div here, and this one will be for the icon. So we need to just install React npm. We need to npm install React icons. So just do npm I React -icons. Just run our server again. While it's doing that, this will be our icon container, and this will be our text container. So here, within this, we want to add another div, and then the icon. See, text. Text of white. Give this some. This is going to be the box that contains the icon. So adding the two. The border. Gray 500. Make that rounded. That looks good. On this side, I have the text. So on the text to sit on top of each other, so with a flex col. I'm going to create a h1 and a p tag. So title and description. So here we're going to say I'm a solo. Let's do some classes. Text. This side, I'll just give it. Now we just need to create the submit button. Inside of this, create a button. Text, text white. With the text black actually. White. UI2. Text. Semi-bold. Some other properties as well, just to give a transition of all. It's good. Now as you can see, it is a bit squashed, sorry, it's a bit squashed, but that's because we gave it a fixed height earlier. Now we can just change this. So that's the left hand side of our form done. See, everything was nice. We're gonna do the, like I said, we're gonna work on the logic in a bit later on. Now we're just gonna style the right hand side of our form. So we're gonna have a logo here and a little bit of text here. So to do that, we'll just create another div. And because we want this to be on top of our overlay, let's give it another class name of relative. So flex row width. Because we want our logo to go on this side, we want to give it justify end. Z index of 10. Just to make sure that it sits on top of everything. Py 3, px of 4. Now within this, we're going to create our little logo. Another div. Okay, so now we're going to create our logo. So we're going to give this a class name of flex row items centered to make sure everything's in line, and give it a gap of 2. Now we need to create another div which is going to contain our logo, our icon, sorry. So now we just e.g. we want to give it a bit of a nice little background effect. So to do that, we're going to give it a background of clip padding. We'll give it border gray 500. They're rounded. Rounded, give that big geo gray 100. Or if we want to give it a backdrop filter, I'm going to give it a backdrop blur as well. E.g. opacity 20. As you can see, it's giving it a nice little effect. Just want to change the text to white, more visible effect. And next to that, we just want to write some. So I just realized we made a little mistake there, which is that we wrapped everything inside this div, but the overlay div, we actually need to close it off. We don't actually need to, so everything, all the contents, we actually need to have it outside of the overlay div. So that's why earlier it wasn't visible, but now it's a lot more visible, which is good. Now I've got the logo. Next we want the little placeholder text. So now we want to create our other div, which is going to contain all of our text. I'm going to give this a class name of relative as well. Give it width of 4, padding of 6, padding on the y-axis of 6, give it a flex, a gap of 6, next column, Z index of 10 to make sure it sits on top of the overlay, and then padding of 4, x-axis. Then we create 2 divs. So we want the p tag, and we want a div which is going to contain all of the names on the bottom. Text of white on the medium. Text of leading of type, just so because we don't want the gap to be so large between each line. It's good. I'm not sure if we need the font. It's fine. And after that, we want to create names and the we want it to be one on each side. So to do that, we're going to use justify between to just space them out nicely. Items to be centered as well to make sure they all fit on the same line. It's going to be our text placeholder, so the name and the position, so flex column because we want it to be sitting one on top of the other. Just give that. I don't know if we need a gap now, but we'll see. So for the first one, the name. Just give this a that looks good. And on the other side, okay, flex row, items, center, a gap of 1, and here we need the icon. P tag. Benches. Okay, so now that we've created the design for our form, we just need to add the logic now. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create some state. So we've got the different parts of our form set here. So first name, second name, etc. And now we're going to create our function. So we'll create our handle submit function. For now, we're just going to console log data. So handle submit. It's an asynchronous function. I'm just set to any for now. So to start, we're just going to do event or prevent default, which will just prevent the page from reloading. What we're going to do is we're going to collect the form data. So we're going to create a variable called form data, and in form data, just going to store all the different state variables. Okay, so now for now, our handle submit function, we're just going to console log the form data. So to do this, I'm just going to add create the handle submit function here. It's button type of. Cool. So now, if you have a look now, and you can see, I've actually attached the on submit, so we'll do that in a minute. I just realized. And so text. And create on changes. So set the value, which will be first name, then set on change, which will say set to now. His name has changed. John. And then now his name. Straightforward. React does this in a very simple way. Simply just using unchanged. So that's it. So for the email, we want to actually give it a type because it's an email. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to type in type email, which means only email addresses are going to be accepted by this. So for example, I just type that in, say please include an email address, which is perfect. So I have to actually include an email, a phone number, just give it. And just to ensure this is a number, what we're going to do is give it a max length, because in UK numbers are 11, so we'll give it a max length of 11, and then we'll give it a pattern of numbers, and the length will be 11. This ensures only numbers are entered, and see, what I requested is 11, so it's good. As you can see now, cool. And we're going to make everything required just to make sure so that the tech can't actually send without all the information. So required simply means that you won't be able to send because all the information is required. The form will not actually submit until everything's been filled out. So because we want everything to be filled out, we'll just make sure everything's required. And obviously if you want to do a bit more complex form rules, you can obviously do that, but we're just using use date, and this is pretty basic, but in most cases, you don't actually need more complex. Of course, in some scenarios, of course you do, but if you want to just make a very simple form, I'm pretty sure you can do it with useState. And you don't actually need any external plugins. So let's just test our form. Creator, get in touch. You can see that's all our information. Solo creator, email, name, job title, number, second name. Perfect. Okay, so we've just added some conditional rendering to this button. So we're just setting, if there's no status initially, we just want the button to be set to get in touch. As soon as the status changes to loading, which happens here when handle submit is clicked, set status to loading. As soon as set status to loading, the text will change to sending, and when the status is set to done, it will be sent. So let's just test it out. Okay. State change to sending. It's never going to be set to done because we haven't included that yet, but as you can see, conditionally rendering the button, which is nice. Okay, so now what we need to do is, we actually need to send this data over into our backend, which we're going to then use a plugin to then send that directly to our email. So I'll show you how to do that now. So what we need to do first is we need to create a new API route in here. We'll just change the name of this one and call it submit form TS. Delete all of that. What we need to do first is download a plugin called NodeMailer. So this literally will just, when the form is complete, it just sends the form directly to an email address. So if you have a contact form on your website and you just need a simple way to send using Next.js directly to email, I definitely recommend NodeMailer. It's free and easy to use. So what we need to do first is we need to create a handler function. So we'll just do export default. Accepts requests and responses. So we'll say if request method equal to post it's going to deconstruct So for now, we're just going to console of the first name. That's what we need to do. We need to handle the logic in the front end. So now that we've created this API route, we're going to send the data from here over to our API route. So after we set our status to loading, what we're going to do is do a try and catch. Try catch. So within the try, we're going to do const. We're going to set our response. So say const response equals await. I'm going to do fetch. Obviously you can do this using Axios, but I'm going to use fetch for now. Fetch /API /submit form. I'm going to say method. It's our application JSON, so our content type. It's our body. So what we're doing now is we're just setting our response. So what we're doing is sending all our form data over to this every time handle submit is clicked. We'll say if response is okay. Set status to done. As you can see, console log first name, console log everything just to show you. As you can see, our backend has received all the data. Obviously the API hasn't been resolved because nothing's happening, but that is confirmation that this is working. So our endpoint is working perfectly because, as you can see, it's collecting the data from the front end, and our endpoint is collecting that. As you can see, we've console logged it. Cool. So we'll just set an error. So let's say catch error. We'll just say console logged error. So console just set the error. Okay, so that's our logic more or less completed. We can actually just do an else here as well. You can just set this. Cool. Now we can just continue with our node mailer configuration. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to configure our Google account. So I'm going to use Google. You can use any other platform you want, but to keep it easy and simple, I'm just going to use Google. What we're going to do is you can't actually use your normal Gmail password. So what you need is to create a less secure apps code, which Google will then, which you will be able to use that code to enable node mailer to send emails from your Gmail account. So what we need to do first is we need to just go to manage your Google account. What you need to do is go to security, and then you need to make sure two-step verification is on. I've already enabled mine, so I'm just going to log in. So make sure that's enabled. So to enable two-step verification, you simply just need to add a phone number, and it'll send a text to your phone. So once you've done that, you can turn on your two-step verification. Then you can search, type in app passwords, and you click on app passwords, and you create a new app name. Let's create, and there you have it. That's the password that you're going to need. You can create that. You can save that in a .env file or whatever you want. I'm just going to copy it. What we need to do now is we need to actually configure node mailer. So to do that, we're gonna what you need to do is you need to create a transporter. Should be should open that function. And just choose the service that you're going to use. So we're using Gmail. Your authentication. So just type in auth. And this is where you can say your email address. So the one I'm going to be using is. We'll just paste in the code that we received from Google. Perfect. And then we can set up our mail options. So it'll be from. So this is the email that you want to send from. So that'll be the same one as this. You want to send it to. Testing purposes, we're just going to send it to the same email address. And then the subject will go here. So the subject of the email. Let's call this form submission. Text, so this will be all the data. So we're going to collect the data. So what we're going to do is we're going to just say name. Then here we'll just include our name. So we've actually got all of this with an if statement. So to create a new line, we'll just do new line. We can do second name. What we need to do next is we're going to run another try catch. So what we're going to do now is await new transporter dot send mail using our mail options. So if the response dot status is 200, what we're going to do is send a message that says email sent successfully. However, it's an error when console there's a 500 error. Say error. And then we'll send else. It says Okay, and there you have it. So policy, let's just say sending, sent, perfect. You can see 200. It's 200. Say email sent successfully. As you can see there, 200. Let's check our email address. Yep, first name Ben Davis, email address. Perfect. So there you have it. That is our contact form, fully complete. So as you can see, logic works, design works, and yeah, I hope you find that helpful. And I personally do think that is the best and easiest and cheapest, what is free. That's the best and easiest way to send a form. If you're just getting started in a business and you haven't got anything like some real infrastructure set up, in my opinion, this is quite simply the easiest way to send a form. As you can see, directly to my email address. You can literally style this email however you want, but nice and easy to understand. And what, 30 lines of code? Easy work. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in your next video.